Kitchen organization for every personality type. Look, if your kitchen constantly feels like a disaster zone no matter how hard you try to keep it clean, you're not alone. The real problem isn't you. It's that you're probably organizing against your natural instincts instead of working with them. I'm Marcus, and over at Seniors Cleaning Hacks, we solve exactly these kinds of problems for real people in real homes. Here's something nobody talks about. When you share a kitchen with someone who thinks completely differently than you do about organization, it creates constant friction. One person wants everything tucked away and hidden, while the other needs to see everything laid out. This isn't about being messy or organized, it's about different brain types that process space in completely opposite ways. Before we get into the solutions that actually work, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Seriously, if you want more practical tips that make life easier instead of harder, you'll want to stick around. And drop a comment telling me which organizing personality sounds most like you. I read every single one, and your input helps me create content that actually solves your problems. Idea number 1, the visual clutter solution for everyday items. Let's start with something simple that makes an immediate difference. Those bottles of dish soap, hand soap, and cleaning products sitting around your sink area? They might seem harmless, but when you've got 5 different brands with bright logos and clashing colors, it creates this low-level visual chaos that makes your whole kitchen feel messy even when it's clean. Now, I'll be honest. Normally, I'm not someone who transfers products into fancy containers just for the sake of it. That seems like extra work for no reason. But here's the thing. If you need certain items out and accessible, putting them in matching, simple containers from any discount store completely transforms how the space feels. It takes maybe 30 seconds to pour soap into a plain dispenser, but suddenly, instead of advertising clutter, you've got a cohesive look that doesn't assault your eyes every time you walk into the room. This matters especially if you're someone who processes visual information strongly. For those folks, too many competing colors and patterns actually creates mental stress. But for people who need things visible to remember to use them, hiding everything away doesn't work either. This simple swap gives you the best of both worlds.
Idea number 2, personalized zones for different users. Here's a concept that changed everything for us. Not every single space in your kitchen needs to work for everyone the same way. Some areas are used primarily by one person, and those spots can be organized exactly how that person's brain works best. Let me give you a concrete example. We set up a dedicated drawer for one household member, let's call her Sarah, who does most of the snacking. Sarah is someone who needs to see things clearly or she forgets they exist. So we got these stackable, clear containers and transferred all her snacks into them. When she opens that drawer, she can look straight down and immediately see every option available. Nothing's hidden behind anything else. The containers maximize the vertical space in the drawer so nothing gets wasted. But then for myself and another household member, Rita, we're the opposite type. We don't want to spend time transferring things and maintaining that system. We just want to toss things in and know where they are. So our snack drawer uses these wider bins with no lids. Everything gets categorized into bins, crackers in one, chips in another, bars in a third, but there's no detailed sorting beyond that. We grab what we need and throw things back in quickly. Both systems use the drawer height efficiently. Both keep things organized, but they're designed for different brains. Make sure you like and share this video if you're starting to see how these principles apply to your own home. And trust me, we're just getting started.
Idea number 3. The golden rule for shared spaces. When you've got multiple people with different organizing styles using the same kitchen, you need a decision-making framework. Here's the rule that solves most conflicts. Always default to the person who needs things visible and the person who needs things simple. Let me break this down. Some people are what I call hidden organizers. They prefer cabinet doors closed and things tucked away. Others are visual organizers. They need to see items, or those items might as well not exist. Similarly, some people love detailed categorization with labels and subcategories, while others need a more relaxed, broader approach to sorting.
When these types share a space, the visual organizer's needs take priority and the less detailed person's approach wins. Why? Because he can't force a visual organizer to remember what's behind closed doors. Their brain literally doesn't work that way. And you can't force someone who thinks in broad categories to maintain a complex filing system. They'll abandon it within a week. So in a shared kitchen, you build systems that let visual people see what they need while keeping things simple enough that everyone will actually maintain the system. The detailed hidden organizers might not love it, but they can adapt to a simpler, more visible system much more easily than the reverse.
Idea number 4. The power of wall-mounted storage. This tip is absolute gold for anyone with limited counter space or anyone who needs visual access to their tools. Get yourself a horizontal rod that mounts to the wall and a set of hooks or hanging containers. You can attach this with industrial-strength mounting tape, the kind used for automotive parts, which means it's renter-friendly and won't damage tile surfaces. Just be careful with painted walls, as the tape might be too strong for some finishes. What this system does is take everything that normally clutters your countertop and moves it up onto the wall, where it's still completely visible and accessible, but no longer taking up your work surface. Cooking utensils, cleaning tools, frequently used ingredients, all of it can hang within easy reach, but off the counter. This works beautifully for visual organizers who need to see their tools, but it also works for small kitchens where counter space is premium. Everything stays tidy and organized, but remains functional. The key is that you're working with vertical space that usually goes completely unused.
Idea number 5. Activity-based zoning. This is where most people go wrong with kitchen organization. They think about categories, all the baking stuff together, all the cooking stuff together, but they don't think about activities and frequency of use. Before you organize anything, identify your most common kitchen activities. What do you do in this space every single day, multiple times per day? For some people, that's cooking elaborate meals. For others, it's reheating leftovers. For many people, especially those living alone or empty nesters, the most frequent activity is making coffee or tea. Whatever your number one activity is, that needs the prime real estate in your kitchen. And I mean prime, the easiest to reach, the most convenient spot, with everything for that activity grouped together in one zone. In our space, hot beverages are the most frequent need throughout the day. So we created a beverage station that has everything. The coffee maker, tea bags, coffee grounds, mugs, sugar, honey, flavored syrups, stirring spoons. Everything needed to make any hot beverage is in one compact area. You can be completely lazy about it. Stand in one spot and reach everything without moving your feet. Map out your own kitchen this way. If your grandkids do homework at the kitchen table, maybe you need a homework station with supplies. If you prep meals for the week on Sundays, you need a meal prep zone with containers and labels easily accessible. Design your kitchen around what you actually do, not what lifestyle magazines say you should do. And hey, if you're finding this helpful, take 2 seconds to hit that like button. It helps other people discover these practical solutions, and it tells me you want more content like this.
Idea number 6. The compromise for cabinet storage. Here's how you make cabinet storage work for both hidden and visual organizers at the same time. The closed cabinet door satisfies the hidden organizer's need for a clean, closed-off look. But the second you open that door, everything inside needs to be completely visible for the visual organizer. Use clear containers for everything. If you've got deep cabinets, add lazy Susans so you can spin to see what's in the back rather than digging through layers of items. Or use pull-out trays. Even simple baking sheets work that lets you slide things forward to see what's behind. The goal is that when you open the cabinet, you can immediately take in everything that's stored there with a single glance. Nothing hidden behind other things, nothing requiring you to move 3 items to get to a 4th. Visual and accessible, but behind a closed door when not in use.
Idea number 7. Maximizing cabinet door space. This is such an underutilized area. The inside of your cabinet doors is prime real estate that most people completely ignore. Add peel and stick hooks or small hanging organizers to these surfaces. Put oven mitts on a hook right inside the door of the cabinet next to your oven. Add a paper towel holder to the inside of the sink cabinet door. Use small adhesive baskets for things like aluminum foil, plastic wrap, or sandwich bags. This accomplishes two things simultaneously. It maximizes your storage space by using surfaces that would otherwise be wasted, and it keeps frequently used items extremely visible and accessible. The second you open that cabinet door, everything you need is right there at eye level. For anyone worried about installation, these peel and stick organizers are designed to be removable without damaging surfaces. Perfect for renters or anyone who likes to change things up periodically.
Idea number 8. The magic of labels. Labels are honestly magical when you're trying to make a kitchen work for multiple organizing types. A label serves two completely different purposes at once. For the hidden organizer, labels mean drawers and bins can remain closed or opaque, maintaining that tucked-away aesthetic they prefer. They don't need to see the contents because the label tells them what's inside. For the visual organizer, that same label creates a visual cue that helps them process and remember where things belong. It makes the invisible visible, even when things are stored in drawers. The trick is not to go overboard. Label the drawers and main categories, but you don't need to label every individual item or create complicated subcategories. Remember that golden rule. Default to the less detailed approach. Simple, clear labels on drawers and main storage containers are all you need.
Idea number 9. Vertical fruit and vegetable storage. This is one of my all-time favorite solutions because it's inexpensive, it looks great, and it solves a real problem. Instead of keeping fruits and vegetables in drawers or bowls on the counter, mount hooks or a wire system on your wall and use hanging baskets. In our setup, we've got these simple hanging baskets, nothing fancy, that hold all our fresh produce. Everything's visible, which means nothing gets forgotten and left to rot in a drawer. The produce gets air circulation, which actually keeps it fresh longer, and it adds visual interest to the kitchen without creating clutter. This works for multiple organizing styles because even though everything's visible, it's contained and orderly. It's not scattered across the counter, it's in a designated spot. The display can actually look attractive while being extremely functional. You can find these basket systems anywhere from discount stores to online retailers. The key is to keep it simple and not overstuff the baskets. Leave space for air circulation and easy access. If you're enjoying these practical tips that actually work in real homes, make sure you're subscribed to Seniors Cleaning Hacks. We focus on solutions that respect how real people actually live, not some impossible Pinterest-perfect standard.
Idea number 10. Open shelving done right. Open shelving gets a bad reputation because people think it automatically means dust, visual chaos, and constant maintenance. But when done correctly, open shelving solves more problems than it creates. The trick is understanding what belongs on open shelves. This isn't for your special occasion china or things you use twice a year. Open shelving is for the items that would otherwise sit on your counter every single day anyway. Your everyday dishes, your daily use glasses, your regular coffee mugs. For visual organizers especially, having these items visible and easily accessible is crucial. They use these things constantly, and having to open a cabinet every single time creates friction that makes the kitchen feel harder to use. But for hidden organizers, having everything on the counter creates stress. Open shelving solves both problems. We installed open shelves directly above the dishwasher. Dishes come out of the dishwasher and go straight onto the shelf. No doors to open, no cabinets to navigate. Just lift and place. It doesn't get simpler than that. Glasses and mugs are right there for grabbing throughout the day. As for the dust concern, let's be realistic. These are items you're using daily or nearly daily. They're not sitting untouched long enough to accumulate significant dust. And even if they were, you're washing them before use anyway. The dust argument is usually more about the psychological preference for hidden storage than a practical concern.
Idea number 11. Color theory for visual balance. When you have open storage and visible items, color choices become important. Too many competing colors creates visual chaos that makes even an organized space feel messy. The secret is restraint. Pick 1, 2, or maximum 3 accent colors for your visible items and keep everything else neutral. For example, in our kitchen, we went with whites, grays, and 1 pop of a sage green color. That's it. Every visible dish, container, and decorative element follows that color scheme. This creates visual cohesion even though you can see everything. Your eye doesn't get overwhelmed because there's a consistent palette. It feels calm and intentional rather than cluttered and chaotic. If you're starting fresh or gradually replacing items, think about choosing a color family and sticking with it. This doesn't mean everything has to match perfectly. You're not trying to look like a catalog. But keeping within a general color story makes a huge difference in how the space feels.
Idea number 12, the neutral backdrop strategy. This goes hand in hand with the color strategy. When you're designing a kitchen that will have visible storage and items on display, your walls, cabinets, and backsplash need to be neutral. I know it's tempting to do a bold backsplash or paint the walls a strong color, but when your stuff is going to be visible, and for many organizing types, it needs to be, that stuff becomes your visual interest. If you layer colorful items onto a colorful background, it becomes overwhelming. Think of your walls and surfaces as a blank canvas. The neutral backdrop lets your functional items be the personality in the room without creating visual noise. White, light gray, beige, soft neutrals. These create the calm foundation that makes visible storage work. The items you use every day become the focal points. They're what you see and interact with, and they're what gives the space personality. The backdrop just supports that, without competing for attention. Idea number 13, hidden appliances for visual calm. This might sound expensive or complicated, but it's actually become quite affordable. Panel-ready appliances, refrigerators, and dishwashers that accept cabinet panels on the front used to be a luxury item. Now you can find budget-friendly options at major retailers. Why does this matter? Because large appliances are visual anchors in a kitchen. A stainless steel fridge, a black dishwasher, a white microwave, each one draws the eye. When you hide them behind panels that match your cabinets, the whole space becomes more visually calm. This is especially important when you're balancing visible and hidden storage. If your appliances blend into the cabinetry, you can have more items visible on shelves and counters without the space feeling chaotic. The hidden appliances create balance. Obviously, this isn't an overnight change for most people, but if you're planning a kitchen renovation or replacing appliances anyway, it's worth considering panel-ready options. The price difference has narrowed significantly in recent years. Idea number 14, peel and stick side storage. These simple adhesive rods and hooks that stick to the sides of cabinets or islands are genuinely game-changing. They create storage space from surfaces you probably never thought about using. Stick a towel rod to the side of your island or the end of a cabinet run, and suddenly you have a proper home for dish towels and oven mitts. These items are no longer draped over the oven handle or crumpled on the counter. They have an actual designated spot that's both visible and tidy. The beauty of peel and stick solutions is that they're removable and renter-friendly. You're not drilling holes or making permanent changes. If you move or want to reorganize, you can remove them without damage. Look at every vertical surface in your kitchen and ask yourself if you could add a hook or small shelf. The side of the fridge, the end of a cabinet run, the side of an island, all of these are opportunities for bonus storage that doesn't require construction. Idea number 15, the visual command center. Every functional kitchen needs a command center, a designated spot for all those papers, reminders, schedules, and tasks that otherwise end up scattered across the counter or stuck to the fridge in a chaotic collage. Create a dedicated area, even if it's small, that serves as your household communication hub. This could be a corkboard, a wall-mounted organizer, a magnetic board, or even a simple set of clipboards hung on hooks. The key is that it's visible and centralized. Everyone in the household knows where to look for information and where to put new items that need attention. Bills that need paying, appointment reminders, shopping lists, schedules, everything has one home instead of being scattered. For visual organizers, this makes information accessible without requiring them to remember to check hidden spots. For hidden organizers, it contains what would otherwise be visual clutter spread throughout the kitchen. It's a true compromise that serves both styles. Keep it organized by having clear categories. Maybe one section for bills and financial matters, one for schedules and appointments, one for shopping and meal planning. But don't overcomplicate it. Remember that golden rule about defaulting to less detailed organization.
Idea number 16. Understanding the organizing style hierarchy. Let me break down how to make decisions when different organizing types share a space, because this comes up constantly. There are 4 basic organizing personalities based on 2 factors: whether someone is visual or hidden, and whether they prefer detailed or simple organization. Type 1 is visual and detailed. These folks want to see everything and they want lots of specific categories. Type 2 is visual and simple. They need to see things but prefer broad, easy categories. Type 3 is hidden and simple. They want things tucked away and don't want to maintain complex systems. Type 4 is hidden and detailed. They love everything labeled and sorted behind closed doors. When these types share a kitchen, here's the priority. Visual wins over hidden, and simple wins over detailed. So type 2, visual and simple, wins every conflict. Type 1, visual and detailed, comes in second. Type 3, hidden and simple, is third. Type 4, hidden and detailed, has to compromise the most. This isn't about fairness in the emotional sense. It's about practical functionality. You literally cannot force a visual person to function with everything hidden. Their brain won't support that system. But hidden organizers can adapt to visible systems. Similarly, you can't expect someone who thinks simply to maintain detailed systems. But detailed thinkers can work with simpler structures. Understanding this hierarchy solves so many household arguments about organization. It's not about winning or losing. It's about creating systems that work for everyone's actual neurology. Make sure you comment below telling me which organizing type you are and whether you're sharing space with someone who's different. The more I understand about your specific challenges, the better content I can create to help you.
Idea number 17. Flexible cooking solutions. Here's something unconventional. Not everyone needs a full range and oven anymore. With modern appliances like Instant Pots, air fryers, and induction cooktops, many people are finding that a traditional oven is taking up valuable space they could use for storage. We implemented a portable induction cooktop that sits on the counter when needed and stores away when not in use. For households that don't do a lot of traditional baking, this opens up an entire oven-sized space for storage of the things they actually use daily. This might sound extreme, but think about your actual cooking habits. If you're heating frozen meals in the microwave, using an air fryer for most of your cooking, and maybe using a stovetop for boiling water or heating soup, you might not actually need that oven. The storage space could serve you much better. This is what real zoning is about, matching your kitchen setup to your actual life, not to what a traditional kitchen is supposed to have. If you're someone who bakes bread weekly, obviously you need an oven. But if you're not, that space is negotiable.
Final thoughts. Listen, the point of all of this is creating a kitchen that works with how you actually think and live, not against it. Too many people struggle because they're trying to force themselves into organizing systems that fundamentally don't match their brain type. If you're someone who needs to see things, stop beating yourself up for not maintaining a system where everything's hidden.
If you're someone who needs simplicity, stop feeling guilty that you can't maintain detailed categorization. There's nothing wrong with you. You just need systems designed for your natural style. And when you're sharing space with someone different, use that hierarchy I talked about. Default to visible and simple, and then make small adjustments for everyone's comfort. You'll have a kitchen that actually stays organized because people can actually use the systems you create. If you found this helpful, do me a favor. Subscribe to Seniors Cleaning Hacks if you haven't already. Share this video with someone who's struggling with their kitchen organization. Drop a comment telling me what organizing type you are and what your biggest kitchen challenge is right now. Every comment helps me understand what content you actually need, and I genuinely read and respond to as many as I can. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is a functional space that reduces stress instead of creating it. You deserve a kitchen that works for your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video with more practical solutions for real homes.